Welcome back to Casual Bars Rugby. Week 1 done and dusted for the Six Nations. We have a look in for week 2 or round 2. We're going to look at some of the squads that has been announced this far. Look into our predictions, give our official predictions for this weekend. So without any further ado, let's just get right into it. Up first, we got Scotland versus France. Absolutely massive game. I know most people would probably say that Scotland has the opportunity for the upset. Now, most people wouldn't necessarily go and say Scotland is going to cause the upset victory. But to be fair, France was so bad in that first round that you wouldn't put it past an upset victory opportunity for Scotland. It's the best opportunity that they've got. Obviously, still no Dupont, no Intermark, no Paul Willems this weekend after he's got his red card. So I've got the squad of France in front of me. And they have not sugarcoated their team whatsoever. It's an absolutely brilliant game. Now, starting off with France, I just think they're not going to be that bad 2 weekends in a row. I think they would look back at their previous game in round 1 and think that was a disgraceful performance, and they're gonna pick their game up. They will play for pride and say, listen, we are still the second best team in the Six Nations. Really just saying that first weekend was a fluke. I still believe they have the stronger players, the better chemistry in their team, and they will win this game overall. Now, I'm not saying they will smash Scotland, but this is my official prediction: France to win by a narrow, I'm going to say 12 points. But it's not going to be like a 12 points battering or them dominating. I think France will be in the lead at the end of the game by about 5 points, and then kind of just like score that try to get them over the line within the last 3 minutes. It's the same as what happened when they played against Ireland. I think France were kind of still in the game, or they had the slightest bit of hope. If they scored one try, they could possibly go in for the second and draw the game. But then Ireland scored that try at the end just to seal the deal. And I think this will be the same thing for France. 3 minutes left and they'll score another try at the end just to solidify the victory. Of course, still in the front line, you've got Cyril Bay, Muvaka and Antonio. I think that is where France still win this game, physicality-wise. They are so strong, so dominant when it comes to their physicality, that gets them over the line. And I don't think Muvaka is going to have as bad of a game as he had for France last weekend. Couldn't throw into his own line-out. Hardly had any meters gained. Didn't really see his presence on the field. If he has a game like he had against South Africa in the World Cup, he is unstoppable. And I think the more you get him on the ball, the better for France. I don't think he has 2 bad games in a row. Of course, new lock pairing, Woki comes in, absolutely brilliant player. And then still you've got the likes of Olivon and Aldry there, who I think both, Olivon maybe a shaky game, but I think Aldry had an absolutely brilliant game against Ireland, and I think he will have another brilliant game. He's one of those guys that's just so consistent. And I'm very, very surprised to see Maxime Luku still backed in the squad. I thought we might see a change, but that just shows you that how important he is for the team. Maybe that is just a one-off bad game that he had, and he brings that form that he had in the top 14 and the Champions Cup back into this weekend's game against Scotland. Of course, you still got Dante, you still got Fiku, you still got Tom Ramos, Jerry Bird. So France overall, very, very strong team. But the way I think they win it is still by forcing their physicality onto Scotland. I don't think Scotland can match the physicality of the French pack. Moving on to the Scottish team. Let me just get it here on my phone. My apologies. Pierre Schoeman's still there. Xander Fagerson still there. I think Scotland, it's kind of like this game is the same vibes as Scotland versus South Africa in the World Cup, in the Rugby World Cup. Well, I think the front row or the starting pack, they can kind of match up. They could probably win a scrum penalty, 1 or 2, and enforce themselves. But I think the bench, that is where the big difference comes in, and I don't think the bench can hold up to the French bench when it comes to the physicality. Of course, where you think Scotland will win this game is taking that game to the French, and their attack is a beautiful attack to watch. If you look at Scotland in that first 40 minutes against Wales, most people would say it's only Wales, But then you look at that second half, and you can't say it's just Wales, because Wales was so good. The French attack is so flary, so beautiful to watch. And I think if they can get it right, run the right lines, you could see what damage they can do when you just look at the lines that the Irish ran against France. So they could see themselves doing something. Of course, right before the World Cup, they had a very close game with France. Now, there is a little caveat behind it, because France didn't play their full strength team. Of course, as always, the big names that I have to pull out their socks for this game will be the likes of a Finn Russell. Tui Pelatu versus Dante is absolutely massive. You still got Hugh Jones versus Fiku. Duan van der Merwe versus Damien Penaud. What an absolute battle that will be. And then Carl Steyn versus Louis Beale Barry. How do you even pronounce it? Sorry. My apologies, but Bill Barry, he's playing, those two playing against each other. Carl Steyn, absolutely magnificent at the moment. So this is a great game to watch. I think it will be probably game of the weekend. It is probably game of the weekend for most of us. Of course, you still have England and Wales, but I'm looking forward to this game. This game is on Saturday, the 10th of February. So the official prediction, France to win it by 12 points, but actually just by the 5 points. Moving on to game 2. We have England versus Wales, a derby. And what is the one thing that we always say? It is when there's a derby, form goes right out the window. And that is amazing. I think this is a brilliant game to watch. Not necessarily the most fluent game of rugby, but just the crowd will be so up for it. As we know, England and Scotland, also a derby, but Wales and England, that is a fierce rivalry there. Of course, Wales haven't won a lot at Twickenham. I think they've won twice. It makes it a bit tough. I want Wales to win this game, but I'm predicting England to take the game, just because of that stat, and that I feel the crowd really riled Wales up to get that second half performance, where they don't have that crowd this weekend at Twickenham. I think England, they know they didn't really have a stamp of authority in that game against Italy. You can't really say it's just Italy, but the way that people were bigging up England, you got to be more convincing, in my opinion, against Italy. And I think they will pull out a bit more of a convincing performance going up against Wales. They have gone fully unchanged. Also, to be fair, Wales have decided to bring in some experience again, having George North into that team. That is massive for them. Of course, Josh Adams still on the wing. Rio Dyer had a good game last weekend. But overall, I'm going with England to scrape a victory with about 8 points, 8 to 10 points. It's weird because, like, after the previous game week, I literally said Warren Gatland gets the best out of the team, and I still believe he will get the best out of his team. But I just think England will be too much this time around. I don't see either team scoring bonus point tries, to be fair. I think it's a very tight and low-scoring game. A lot of penalties in the game. I think George Ford will have to put on his kicking boots to shoot a lot of penalties. But overall, England to take this one for me. I want Wales to win it. I'm rooting for Wales, to be honest, because, as you know, my girl is English, and there's a lot of banter between the two of us, so I need to back the opposite. Moving on, you've got the final game of the weekend, Ireland versus Italy. I don't think this is a runaway victory for Ireland, as most of us predict. I know it's at the Aviva and everything, but the only reason I'm saying that is just because of the fact that I don't think Ireland will put out their strongest team. As of right this second that I'm shooting this video, Ireland has not announced their team. I think they're switching it up a bit. And I think Italy will come out firing. They would take a lot of confidence from their performance against England. Now, England is no Ireland at the moment. Let's be honest about it. But I don't see Italy being blown out of the water by 60 to 70 points. I see Ireland taking this game by about 30 points, which is still a massive margin, 25 to 30 points. But overall, I think it will be a dominant victory for Ireland, playing at the Aviva. I think they'll be shooting for the biggest ever clean sweep of the Six Nations. So that is the official predictions. France to take it, England to take it, and then Ireland to take it. I know it's not the most exciting and exhilarating predictions, to be fair. A lot of people have been backing Scotland. As I said, I just don't think they match up physically very well with the French. And then a lot of people could call the upset victory on Wales versus England. But I do think there's a sense of England having some belief in this tournament, even after they just beat Italy narrowly. I think there's still some belief in them to create something special. And that's why I have to back England in this one. And then Ireland to beat Italy. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate every one of you guys. Please remember to like and subscribe. I love all of you.